Now, staying on with the news alert that's just coming in breaking development from the United States, former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger has died aged 100.
Well, Kissinger served as America's top diplomat and national security advisor as well during the Nixon and Ford administrations. In a statement, Kissinger Associates, a political consulting firm he founded, said that the German-born former diplomat died at his home in Connecticut during his decades-long career. Kissinger played a key and sometimes controversial role in U.S. foreign and security policy.
As the Secretary of State, he was known for pioneering a policy of détente with the Soviet Union and promoting an open-door policy towards China. He also is credited with eventually extricating America from the Vietnam War. Kissinger's influence also extended to another Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, who once wrote in the Washington Post that she relied on his counsel.
Until the end, his political philosophy remained pragmatic. America would not be true to itself if it abandoned its essential idealism. This is a quote. He wrote this in his book, World Order, at age 91.
Now, for more on the passing of Kissinger, our principal diplomatic correspondent Siddhant Sibal is joining us on the broadcast. Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, big news coming in from the United States. What can you tell us?
Well, 100 years is a long time, and Henry Kissinger, his legacy is something that will be remembered. Now, in South Asia, he won't be remembered very fondly, especially in India and Bangladesh. Remember, in 1971 war, he played a key role, and remember, the Americans were at that time allies of Islamabad. Also, according to State Department archives, how he, of course, reached out to the Chinese to build up forces along the frontier with India. But of course, his role with the establishment of a proper relationship between Washington and Beijing will be seen as last century's biggest outcome in terms of how both the big two, as they are known today, China and US, established their relationship. His name, of course, has cropped up in many coups from Southeast Asia to Latin America, from Vietnam War to, of course, situation in Argentina in last century. So essentially, whether one hates him or loves him, he, of course, changed the world and changed it in a different manner as we see today.
Siddhant, now there have been several quotes of Henry Kissinger which have been doing the round since decades, not even just years. You know, this one, it's a pity both sides can't lose. This was his comment on the Iran-Iraq war in 1980 to 1988, where we all know US had an important role to play. There was another one which I'm just taking from where he said, America has no permanent friends or enemies, only interests. And these are things which have been true over the years. Talk to us about what his inputs were and his reading was of America.
Well, I think his most popular quote was, America has no friends and no enemies, and this is something that is even talked today. But essentially, one of the biggest thing he will be remembered will be for the opening up to China, how he traveled to Islamabad. Pakistan played a key role back then, and of course from Islamabad he went to China, and that led to the visit of the then US President Nixon to China, and that opened up the relationship. That time the Chinese and the Soviet Union weren't doing very well as well in terms of relationship, and that continues. His legacy in Vietnam War is another that is remembered globally. And now, of course, he played the important role. But essentially, it's South Asia, if we talk about, where while the Indians and the Bangladeshis won't have very fond memories of him, it's the Pakistanis who will be remembering him, given that he played his role in terms of saving the then West Pakistan. These were the words he told President Nixon back then when Pakistan lost East Pakistan, which is Bangladesh today, and India, of course, played an important role.
All right. Well, Siddhant, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this. We will, of course, continue to track this closely through the day as well. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.